Around the world and back, the bottle dance, spinning on the same spot. The case of the impeachment by the IG group. Fellow Ambazonians, welcome to a special edition of our daily podcast. My name is Capo Daniel, the Ambazonian Defense Forces Deputy Defense Chief of the AD of the Governing Council of Ambazonia, aka Sense King. As promised, today we will dive deep into the implication of the use of impeachment that we have seen with the Splinter Ig group, the corruption, evidence of collusion with the enemy, and much more. As Chris Anodem, the move Sako for power again and again.
To impeach Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako. A letter was then sent to Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako to appear before the Restoration Council to answer to some of the charges against him. He was given up to yesterday, February the 12th, to appear before the Restoration Council to answer those charges. Dr. Sako did not appear before the Restoration Council. He essentially refused to appear. Essentially put out a statement dissolving the Restoration Council. Of course, many people know out there he did not have the powers to dissolve the Restoration Council. And so in that background, he refused to show up. So today, submitting yesterday, the Restoration Council, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Ambazonians, formally voted to remove Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako as President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And so as I speak to you.
So, Hunada here. Now, fellow Ambazonians, what does this actually mean? Impeachment and upon impeachment, it actually means nothing because it all depends on Sako whether he accepts it or not. Why? Because in law there is way they call and say precedent. That means say when you allow something make it happen, you don't create an example for that same thing for it happen in the future. For big book they talk say those way they come for equity, they must come with clean hand. Lie begotten lie, illegitimacy begotten illegitimacy. Why will the assembly, where they call themselves today say Restoration Council, go expect Sako for accept their decision when the same group of people they be denied the decision made by a similar assembly, even a larger one called the Constituent Assembly of the APNC? Make a take una back into history when they be first indict Sako of the same crimes. This one a video except for the first time where they be impeach Sako and they be removed from office.
Based on all the facts established, the APNC 2019 hereby considers acting President Sako very limited in his abilities and character to lead the people of Ambazonia in completing the restoration and independence mission. APNC 2019 and all its constituencies hereby from the date of publication of this statement cease to recognize Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako together with any of his appointees as representatives of their aspirations and advises all Ambazonians to follow suit. That a Provisional Restoration Council, abbreviated as PRC, has been put in place to run and coordinate the affairs of the revolution for the time being and will be presented to the people of Ambazonia officially in a separate publication. Upon due consultation, a democratic selection of representatives from all southern Cameroonian Ambazonian counties will be constituted.
So, fellow Ambazonians, when I hear Sako be trial with the Restoration Council where Naibi vote the Sako for power, led by Elvis Kometa. They became wholly before for that conference for America, and then voted out on the same charges of criminal conduct, embezzlement of my trip to Boya, with all those crimes them, and it be been a legitimate process because it be start with Seseko Ayoktabi with Sako in attendance in a cabinet meeting where they be vote for create this constituent assembly, make it restart, make it relook into all the matters. In that vote, the vote was 100%, was I think 70 something percent for the APNC to go ahead. Sako was in that vote and he lost the vote. They went ahead, they indicted him, they had witness testimony from his own treasurer, and with Elvis Kometa, the head of their so-called Restoration Council, testifying against him, he was removed from power. But the same group of people, Chris Anu, where they be stand the lie, say that APNC be supposed to take place. You get even Mark Beretta, Eric Tato, where they be shieldy, they even refuse to make public announcement about the APNC. They be shield the Sako, and they be go ahead for ignore the rulings of the APNC and then go create his own Splinter Ig group, continue for the act like say Naibi, the interim government. And remember the declaration where he be impeached Sako, he also talks say the interim government he go get a provisional period where they go announce for Ambazonians them for put all the various institutions them before he get a new administration for Yerima. But that was never done. Instead, Seseko he become up make an appointment of Capo Daniel as the ambassador for Asia, and put back Milton Taka where they be done fire he as the Secretary of State and Yerima as the Vice President. So all of those things, they will be meaningless because you get power for do anything only from the book, only from the law, as Chris Anu rightly say. Make we go back for Chris Anu. We hear it, we talk.
Stay in power pending a revision of the Constitution and a call for election. The revision of the Constitution did not take place. Both.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before I take we back for the Constitution and the issue of law, I want to first bring this observation to the Ambazonian people for know the same charade we the Siam, saying that the same charade will not happen. First, the only reason why they act against Sako today now because Chris Anu it cheer him and Chris Anu it drive the issue. Chris Anu get problem with Sako. Otherwise, they for them follow up all the same charges against Sako will be previously made. How will the people them for the so-called Restoration Council go answer? Say Chris Anu they want try Sako, say he go sign deal, he go make arrangement with CDC for collect 30 million every month and make them provide you some plantation for day. How they go do prosecute Sako and then left Chris Anu where either admit say na himself he go make that deal with Cameroon before he bring him for Sako. When I hear
deal, Dr. Samuel Sako cannot say it did not exist because I took it to him. The thing I know, therefore, is the CDC deal. Dr. Samuel Sako cannot say it did not exist because I took it to him.
So, if una the try person for crime, where a co-conspirator, una never cross-examine ye, una never try for the same crime, for accessory to that same crime, it shows an incompetent organization where they simply just do na way to wait and feel say it go please the person where they like him. When a Chris Anu, it no be any valid, it no be based on any principle of law. It's just wrong. Whether you like Sako or not, you must be fair and you must be just when you are making judgment. How will an organization called the Restoration Council be charging Sako for the same crime they have refused to accept when Sako was previously impeached? They also make them culpable for Sako action. For how long have they been preventing Sako knowing all these charges except for the one concerning the CDC deal. How long did they know about this? Even based on the declaration made by the so-called Restoration Council. Wanna listen?
Bitcoins, which is the Bitcoin. We don't even need evidences, because my former chairman Frank Mendy of Menchu had a show on ABS, I think with you, Secretary Chris, where he confessed under oath. Sorry, not under oath, to the Ambazonian populace, that as chairman of Menchu, he received advice from the president to withdraw money from the county account and invest as his downline in Bitcoin.
So, when I hear the case against Sako, say the county head for Menchu maybe testify for public, for TV shows, say Sako be talking me they come take money where they don't donate them, come buy na Bitcoin, they didn't jumbo for online. So now the evidence I didn't get them. This show it don't pass more than 3 months. If these people they be concerned about Ambazonia them, or they begin Ambazonia for their heart, at the time where this man if he make this talk, we be done already declare him close to almost 9 months ago. Say this particular Prince Mandi now an active service Cameroon military man where they work for Menchum. He don't try for key people in the time where Sako be the try for arrest RK. He be send boy them, me they can catch he, and he be responsible for destroy many of the Ambazonian fighters and for inside Menchum. They no be ever think say the life of the soldier they be warrants them for take any action or for even investigate this individual. The individual won't come up for they don't gather all money with the don't donate them, run with them. The testimony and the complaint where they want make and say come up from this particular individual. If they already there for they all this while, if they be competent and they act as a result of their care for Ambazonian, then they can take action. Things where this man if he can talk this talk say Sako be talk me then go put money for Bitcoin. It be important for remind una say no be only you one and talk. 5 other member them for such council that and talk. Say that the same two way Sako they do. So when they talk say Sako be get a premium of over $1,000, some $600 per month for their investment where they put them for that gambling for internet called Bitcoin. So Sako he also be charged say he don't try for dissolve the Restoration Council. So now why that way the movie for power. And then talk say it be a very serious charge where that one alone if it deserves me the movie for work, me the movie for position. On here.
The Restoration Council remains charged with the constitutional authority to oversee the executive arm of the interim government led by President Dr. Samuel Sako. It is worth noting that attempts to disrupt the Restoration Council and its functions by high-level members of the government bench are treasonous. More so, deliberate attempts to divide the interim government and the determined attempts towards dissolving the Restoration Council are not only signs of infiltration, but also impeachable offenses.
So, if you don't hear very well, now the Restoration Council that for Sako talk say any attempt for dissolve the Restoration Council as Sako be make he go try for appoint he own them. Now treasonous actions way na sign for infiltrator. That means the people the way them be influenced by La Republic to Cameroon. It go be good for remind the so-called Restoration Council say na exactly that way to way them be because they no be created legally. Na time way the correct original Restoration Council it be move Sako, then Sako can go pick this one them, choose them, make them a Restoration Council. So they actually indict na themselves. If then talk say na a crime for create a Restoration Council other than the original one, then they indict themselves say them be illegitimate and they be wrongly created because them too be created by Sako Ikome. So all this one not just a child's play, a juvenile way of thinking. If you look according to the law where they talk Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will take una for the law of the IG, because una dey hear all they don't come to the conclusion say the laws must be respected, from Chris Anu to the Restoration Council. All of them they insist say the law. Anything it give power na for law, because before them vote Sako, they will take that power na from the law of the IG. So wait to be the law of the IG. This one I get a privilege for bringing for una. The IG na an institution where it be created for Zaria, the fourth conclave. The conclave will be infamous for Sako use armed guards for drive out and prevent other members and for coming in. Wait to be the laws of the IG, make una know. I go also publish and make people they know, because I be one of the delegate where we create the IG, and I get a responsibility for tell una the truth. And if Sako and Chris Anu and this so-called Restoration Council they are honest, let them examine it publicly also. Or me then call me, I can't help them for tell them where to be the truth. The IG get two laws them, and it be created now for 2017 on the 1st of November 2017. The IG had two legal documents after we create them, as the assembly way we create them for Zaria, it be institute them. One, it be na the resolutions of the conclave held in 31st of October 2017. These resolutions are the bylaws, are the binding laws on the IG. Another document na the draft constitution for Ambazonia. That document it will be created as a draft constitution. Wait, will get for Boya. The government it could do consultation, they could do debate before them vote them into law inside Ambazonia. It no be been a law for the IG, it will be a law for Ambazonia. I go read the various provision for the resolution them. We create the IG, and we also create that draft constitution, so that many people then hear and they may then know the truth. So the laws of the IG, the bylaws, are the resolutions. This is in number na 34 resolution that will be taken for the conclave. For the law them, we create the Restoration Council. It then for resolution number 13. I read them. It say, establish a Restoration Council comprising of 11 members of the current governing council plus 4 individuals. 1 per region. You have Africa, America, Asia and Middle East, and Europe. So in total, the Restoration Council is supposed to be made of 15 individuals. This is the law that created the Restoration Council, and any member we call yourself being a member of Restoration Council must ask and say, now which law created ye? Now who give you the power for exist? This is the law that created it. Whether someone go ask and say be just, say cabinet member them for Sako, they go take them, make them, be na the, because Restoration Council need to be na the overall authority where they govern the executive branch. But na say it be for the law. And they just quote them the way we did. Law number 16, he established the creation of the ethics committee consisting of 7 members. It will then be established and created. Harmony Bogba, it will be selected as the head by Sako Ayuk Tabi. Now the institution, and that way they be charged Sako for embezzlement of my treat to Boya, where then fire he before he illegitimately create the Splinter Ig group. Number 13, for that law, for the resolution, he announced the formation of the interim government. Will start on the 31st of October 2017, led by Sako Ayuk Tabi as interim president. Remember, interim president, IP, not president. And it talks say the mandate na for Sako. So the office where the interim government is created, it be belong na for Sako as a person. They not be creating an office. They better empower na an individual. So any man where they claim say if he may be the leader of the IG, he's doing so illegitimately and against the law that created the very IG. If you can call the name IG, then you are talking about this organization created by this Zaria conclave, and this adjusts the law as it is. Any other thing now made up things and it not be valid. As for the country heads with them fee say the one act as the Restoration Council head or whatever representative they call them, that is not so. The law is clear. If you look at resolution number 23, it talks it invites the diaspora country leaders in future to come under their respective zonal diplomatic envoy to hold themselves ready to perform such duties as from the time assigned to them by the interim government. So the country heads were supposed to be working under the ambassadors of these 4 ambassadors who were supposed to be members of the Restoration Council representing these 4 continents. But we know that that is not the case because they have gone out of the law of the IG. So they create the election of Chris Anu, where they be first elected before then change of put Sako now for act as an acting interim president. Acting because the interim president will not be available, he then be captured, he be supposed to act on his behalf. So when Sako he come back, then fire Sako be need for go. One illegality create another illegality. And this one drag us back right from Wusa will be get the power for create the interim government in the first place. Now the law will be create the governing council, the law will be create the Kakuf, and that law it prohibit the creation of the governing council because it be create the constituent member of the leadership council where it will be made up of the 7 nationalist group where they come together with the consortium for decide for create Kakuf, a joint platform for prosecute this liberation movement. It will be illegal for Seko for change them. That illegality, it don't create place where if people that don't can take and to you sobby, and then now you get another person they can do the same thing. Lie begotten lie, illegality begotten illegality. We need to stop this nonsense. I go one make listen from the speech from the vice president, the first vice president of the interim government, Mr. Honorable Weber.
You did not set your foundation on truth. Because you are super intelligent, because you know everything, you decided to reverse the laws of science, physics, and art by deciding to begin the construction of the house from the roof. By forming something called a government, you had already decided that you will build the roof before you start setting the foundation. All of what is happening out here in the diaspora, all of this fighting that's going on, all of this rotten politics that will take us nowhere, it is the weight of that roof that people are carrying on their heads and don't know where to throw it.
So Unadan here from Honorable by Imop, all the problem we would go through, I mean all. Now the weight of this illegality called a government where they don't create them. And the right thing for do now for stop this cycle of repeated impeachment, repeated creating new government, appointing new ministers that have no consequence. It only add the burden upon our people. It will only bring injustice. Because when you use one injustice, it will create another injustice. So they create the leadership council with the founding document. Ata Milan, like is set them aside for create your own governing council. Seko Ig for Seko take it create your own interim government with the bylaws of the conclave resolution and the draft constitution will be meant for Ambazonia. Sako can take be like the bylaws because if he say it could be wrong, he go take now that draft constitution where it be supposed to be applied now for Ambazonia during independence. Take redraft and make them in your own image, talks in their own law. So today, Idan fire Chris Anu and they dissolve the Restoration Council. Them too, they talk now say they obey the law, but they no go obey the law. They go make their own. So Chris Anu now they talk about the revision of that same law. It will continue endlessly for broke this cycle. If indeed these people were patriot, what they will do is they will accept the fact that the interim government was a mistake. It is illegitimate. It is not based on any law. The laws that they're supposed to base on is the founding document of Skakuf, and that document, that body did not authorize, did not permit the creation of this interim government. If I was to take exception to give an advice, I will ask them to follow the example of Atta Milan. Atta Milan, after he failed for create the interim government, he say no work. He go take Nana the idea for Dr. G for create Scoop, an organization where if we bring together a followers them, make them prosecute the liberation in a more effective way according to their capacity. That is the right thing to do. Create another organization, gather all your followers, Mr. Chris Anu, to do what you want to do with it. To go and create something that is illegitimate, that have no mandate from our people, will just be doing so based on lies. And those people who are there should recognize this truth and get the hell out of there. If Sako and Sako, they still want to carry this burden our people then, because now the only thing that way they feel hold on to for be relevant, it could be upon them. But forget a third monster, could help any situation. And they go get that 10 monster if actually they are not patriot. But if actually they are people with brains who are capable of making rational decision based on logic, they will do the right thing and stop the nonsense and give Ambazonian people a break from the burden of this illegality. Capo Daniel, signing off.